And we're live. Welcome to another
Live.
fantastic episode of Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable discussion. Before we get started, let me remind you that we are covered by the BIPCOT No Government License, which allows for the reuse, redistribution, and modification of this podcast by anyone and everyone except for governments and the bludgies thereof. You can learn more about that at bipcot.org. That is BIPCOT.org. And we are episode 30. 30, you guys. We're an old
30. We're 30.
We're 30, yeah.
Actually, that would make us like 60, wouldn't it?
In dog years.
Yeah.
What, podcast years?
Or every other week.
And podcast years were ancient because we haven't podfaded yet.
This is true.
Unlike Radical Logic, Merrick Van Landen, now I'm talking to you. Where are you at?
Yeah, but well,
did like 8 shows in the most amazing podcast ever, and then
I know, right? The other half of that podcast kind of went off the rails too, though.
Yeah, that's true.
It happens to really good podcasts.
You got to be a little bit strange to want to do a podcast.
Well, that's not what you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah,
is this even technically a podcast that we're doing though?
I guess it could be.
It's kind of like a live stream.
It's a YouTube program.
Yeah. It's an educational program.
It's a roundtable discussion. I don't know what to call it a podcast either.
But like, I don't know. I think I look at it a lot like I used to look at my band, like when I was in, my old band with my buddies and whatnot. And it's like a dysfunctional family that you kind of have to manage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the best way I can like the best example I can give for it.
That's what it is. It's like a fireside chat without the fire and being beside each other. And
so it's absolutely nothing like a fireside chat.
No,
but everything like it.
But if we were around a fire, and we were all like beside each other, this is what we would be doing: hanging around, talking shit, telling stories.
Yep.
Telling lies.
Happen in person sooner or later.
Yep. Trying to get Derica to blush and spit vodka out her nose from laughing.
Yeah.
Except I'd be a lot less sober.
Slancha.
Water.
Was Mark telling ghost stories of the Viagra factory again?
That's right.
We've got a new job pill factory. He doesn't know what they make, so we're just going with the assumption that they make Viagra.
I might have a hard time. Might be some stiff competition.
His experience pitching Ted's company in
I got nothing.
Oh, shit.
It's just if it's a Viagra factor, I feel sorry for the females that Mark's gonna be working around.
Right. Maybe we should keep
Giggity.
prayers.
That's right.
Mark's got to wear a sign that says, "Don't worry, it's a baby goat in my pants."
Just
Was that?
what?
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 Who?
What? Why?
How?
What? All right, what are we talking about tonight, you guys?
Stuff.
Oh,
And shit.
I got an update from one of our returning stories. I don't know if you guys remember the drive-through coffee shops in Everett, Washington. The bikini baristas. A practice I am fully in support of.
Hell yeah.
Serving hot coffee by a hot chick in a bikini. I'm all for that. Well, if you guys remember, or in front of it or inside of it, whichever. If you guys remember, the city sued. The city sued on decency laws and health department issues. Right, the city sued to have the city closed them down. The bikini baristas countersued, and a judge ruled in the bikini baristas' favor.
Mm-hmm.
The city of Everett has filed an appeal to that case. Lawyers for the city of Everett have filed a brief in the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals asking for a temporary ban on a dress code for bikini baristas to be lifted. The Daily Herald reported Monday that lawyers contended U.S. District Court Judge Marcia Peachman erred in a ruling that it was unconstitutional for the city to require coffee stand employees to cover up at work. The 66-page brief argues that the judge was wrong in suggesting that the rules were vague in describing what body parts can't be on display. They also said that the judge failed to consider evidence that the stands are adult-oriented businesses with associated crime problems. The city wants to require such workers to, at minimum, dress in tank tops and shorts. Bikini stand owners said the employees argued that the dress code violated their civil rights or put their civil rights at risk.
I've seen tank tops and shorts that cover less than bikinis do. I'm just saying.
I've worn tank tops and shorts that cover less than bikinis do.
Ranger
Oh,
panties.
damn.
Right? I'm so tired of everybody telling me to live my life, saying things about my shorts. Like your legs are hairy and your nuts are hanging out.
No one wants to see the baby bird.
But you can show them the flying squirrel.
Hey, baby.
I'm so glad you fuckers are my friends. So, like, it's one of those things. Like, if you don't like them wearing bikinis, just don't fucking go there.
If you don't like bikinis, don't wear them.
Well, it's not only. I mean, first of all, I would challenge any one of these city council members who's trying to say this shit to tell me, at least the male ones, to tell me honestly that they walk into their kitchen in the morning and one of those chicks is standing there in like just a thong and they go, "Can you put some clothes on before you make the coffee, honey?"
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
No. Come
Hell
I'd
on.
be like, bro, don't be a faggot.
Everybody knows that these
Straight up.
changes if you're dealing with more people than just your immediate, right?
Mhm.
First off, we forget.
Right, and we can go the whole aspect of the no victim, no crime, and all that other BS, but we don't even need to go there because it's subjective moral decency laws is what it is. It's the subjective moral opinion of these council members that are being forced on the populace and on these other people.
It's like
Go to Hooters.
where they want to block porn websites throughout Virginia. Like they want
Yes.
Virginia IPs to block porn websites.
Yeah, Utah
What?
also.
Well, and no matter how you slice this, there is no logical reason to object to this because their biggest argument, right? They throw out that classic trope of it's going to increase crime because it's adult oriented.
Uh-huh.
No study has ever confirmed that even exists. I mean, a couple of years ago, San Diego, because they have like 11 or 12 strip clubs within the greater San Diego area. And back in 95, they'd done a study when they first started allowing strip clubs there again. And then they repeated the same study a couple of years ago. And what they actually found was that not only do strip clubs not increase crime, we're talking full-on strip clubs. We're not even talking baristas in bikinis here. We're talking like, hey, look, nipples, full-on strip clubs. And they did the study.
Or if you're in Hawaii, hey, look, kidneys. Sorry.
Or I don't even want to go there. Nope.
No.
We're not going there. But no, so they did the study and they found that not only do these strip clubs not increase crime, they actually, the 500 feet or whatever radius around them have exactly the same crime rates as everywhere else in the United States. But they also found that the regular nightclubs are about 10 times the national average. So
because in a regular nightclub, all you have to spend your money on is liquor. And in a strip
Or
club,
drugs.
you have more stuff to spend your money on, less money for liquor. See what I'm saying? It works out.
Yeah, and in addition to that, I mean these bikini, this is not like a sit down Starbucks type of thing with women in bikini. It's a drive through. It's a drive through, right? It's a little booth, cars on each side going different directions, and it's just a tiny little booth with a couple of girls in there, and they're making coffee. We've all seen
And
them.
business is booming. And none of this started with a customer complaint either. You guys remember that? Like nobody actually complained.
Yeah, nobody complained. It was a member of the city council that decided it was disgusting. That they didn't like women being what's the word I'm looking for?
It is disgusting.
It's always some
girls are
outrage
disgusting.
bullshit.
You know what's disgusting is charging $13 for a coffee. That's fucking disgusting.
Yeah, it is fucking disgusting.
That should be a fucking crime. I don't care what you're not wearing. $13 for a coffee is a crime.
At least show us mass and titties for $13, man.
and even like
buy some Blue Mountain coffee, and it's like $60 a fucking pound.
Jesus Christ. What is that Kopi Luwak shit that like they fucking have the animal shit it out first?
No, it's the Blue Mountain.
Baby birds digest it, or mama birds digest it and vomit it up. It's great.
There's legit like coffee that like rich people drink that shit.
It's
some cat,
actually.
Yeah,
it's a civet cat that eats the cherry and then craps it out, and it partially ferments in the gut of
crazy,
the
dude.
cat.
I'm glad somebody else knew what I was talking about.
Yep.
Andrew, I didn't really know you, but I love you already.
I knew about that shit coffee. Go me.
Give me Death Wish. Give me Death Wish all day long, and I'll be happy with that. But
you mean bootlicker coffee? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, that would be the Black Rifle Coffee Company. No, Death Wish is
like the cocaine of coffee.
Like six times the average cup of coffee and caffeine content. The shit it'll make you twitch. It's fantastic.
Well, it'll make you twitch. It wouldn't
These
make
are
me
the
twitch.
real issues with
Why can I not get to the fucking
whether you
chat?
buy it from a chick in a bikini
There
or
is no
not,
chat
That's
yet,
not
Mark.
a fucking issue. It's nobody else's business.
There is no chat. Oh.
No, that's the chat's up, but nobody's commented.
Did you not turn it on?
Yeah, it's turned on. It turns on automatically.
Okay.
So anyway, the other issue that they went after the bikini baristas was the health department issue. Like, somebody that's going to get this job in a bikini is really going to have an issue with like hair getting in the food or hair getting in the coffee.
You think these chicks have hair?
Different than if they're wearing
clothes. Maybe hair on their head, but
for real, how is it any different than Hooters?
It's not.
Because they're not like greasy meth heads, like in hot pants. At least that's the only thing that's at Hooters around here.
What if that wasn't like the gimmick?
What's that, Kevin?
But you showed up and they were just wearing bikinis. Like,
they happen to be like doing a ultra casual Friday.
Yeah, but every day.
Like, I don't have any issue with that. Like, I just don't. I don't understand any sort of logical argument why this is an issue. It's entirely subjective. It's like, again, it's not the customer. It's not the customers complaining.
A twist because they thought it was fucking wrong or nasty or whatever.
Yeah. Well, the point was if that wasn't their gimmick, but the girls just wore bikinis every day. I mean, without advertising it, nobody would give a shit. This was my point.
Maybe. I don't know. Bodies are gonna...
I think it's just an excuse for them to feign moral outrage, really. To be quite honest with you. It's really all it is. I think it's just
their job.
Yeah, well that too. Like we've always discussed, you know, their only job is to pass more legislation and anything to give them a reason to do so. Yeah. They're gonna look for it.
Yeah. Hey, do you guys know anything about that that law that just recently passed about holding websites responsible for sex trafficking?
Yeah, like Backpage. Backpage.com was recently taken down.
Already on the docket tonight.
I was okay.
No, it's always like Kevin. Go ahead.
No, I just realized I'm starting to see stuff online like Backpage.com. I think is one of the sites that's gone after. But there's it's having like these second and third order effects. Like Craigslist doesn't do their fucking personals anymore because of it, and it's like has this. It's like putting like all these websites, like these dating websites, are going offline because of it, and it's like it's not attacking the real fucking problem, like the dark web or any of that fucking shit. It's like affecting like legitimate businesses and stuff.
Yeah,
and that's it's not directly, it's not the government directly doing it in a lot of cases. Backpage, it was government took down Backpage.com, but like Craigslist and all these other dating sites, it's not the government directly doing it, but it's the government putting pressure on the people that hold these sites or whatnot.
Or the board just deciding they're not looking for trouble and fucking
and it's
before the government comes for them.
Yeah, and it totally ignores the reason, or the cause for the reason that they use. Right, a lot of the reason that they use is like sex trafficking. Right, like that's why they took down Backpage.com, is because it supposedly or allegedly promoted sex trafficking. Right, same with the Craigslist personal ads. It promoted prostitution and blah 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 blah. That's a self ownership issue. Well, sorry, you broke up pretty good there. What was that?
Oh, I was gonna say, let's be clear though that prostitution is not the same thing as sex trafficking.
Absolutely fucking not. Absolutely fucking not.
No.
Prostitution is totally a self ownership. It's nobody's business what I do with my body. And how is prostitution? How is paying a woman for sex any different than taking her out on a date, buying her drinks, buying her dinner, then taking her home?
Technically, you could say, if you want to get technical, you could say that Kevin pays me for sex.
Yep.
Yeah. You pay one way or pay another.
And
all relationships are a form of prostitution.
If we're gonna be honest about it,
for the government's fucking bullshit, but
well, wasn't that FBI? Didn't the FBI admit that they ran like pages on the dark web so that they could catch people that were trafficking children?
Right.
Like they were like operating like child porn websites.
Child porn sites.
That's fucking ridiculous, dude.
The FBI a couple of years ago took over a child porn website, used illegal
used images.
Used illegal images, used illegal tracking software to catch these people. They did not have warrants to go across state lines, number one. Number two, they spent like something like $28 million running this website, released like 250 million pictures, and arrested like 8 people, and like 4 of them got out on because the government violated the rules.
Yeah, so that's totally a good return on investment there.
Yeah, well, that's my main issue is that like they're pushing this shit, trying to catch people. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's like my main issue. Like I have no issue with like fucking like child sex traffickers being brought down and fucking putting those motherfuckers to death. I could care less.
Yeah, like the legality of that is what concerns me less. More the fact that they put out like 8 million of those images,
crazy, dude.
And caught 4 people and spent how many bajillion dollars on it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's like how they said they were like terror plot.
Yeah,
that's like when they said that they were arming the moderate rebels in Syria, whatever, and the weapons got to like 4 different dudes or something. And I'm like, yeah, bullshit. That's like why you guys got caught on video, like fucking arming the rebels and like all kinds of shit.
Oh yeah, and none of what they're doing actually addresses the issue, right? Why sex trafficking exists, And a lot of the reason that sex trafficking exists is because prostitution is illegal. Right? If you could order a prostitute like you can order a pizza, sex trafficking wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
Prohibition.
Derica froze again. All right, you froze again, D.
Damn it. I was just saying there's a proportional relationship between prohibition and the black market.
Absolutely.
Of course there's.
Absolutely.
Prohibition is for suckers.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, did you ever notice how anything they like they prohibit, they end up...
But if fucking Saudi Arabia went away, sex trafficking would probably be cut in like half.
Oh yeah, dude, totally.
Oh no, it doesn't. A lot of it goes to
Or more.
like Thailand and Vietnam and
Well, they have like
Asian
white
countries.
slaves fucking flown into Saudi Arabia on fucking C-130s and shit.
Nice.
Mostly by the U.S. military.
Yeah, by like dime corps and shit.
Well, with Thailand and Vietnam, you can't fucking tell the difference between a fucking 40-year-old and a 12-year-old. So, fuck it.
Nah, this is
You can't tell
true.
the difference
You
between
can't tell the difference between a male and
Yeah,
I
They're
will
on
give
the same
you
page
each
there,
$100
man.
extra if you are anatomical females. God damn it.
Little Shanghai surprise with your...
Why you gotta be so judgy, Andrew?
Oh man.
I mean, with
That's what you got.
the
That's what
proper amount of adhesive, it can look like anything, really.
That's what. See, Mark, you need to work at the Viagra factory. So if you ever go to Hong Kong, you can slip people blue pills before you hit on them.
That's like taking a girl
I'm not
swimming on
that
the first
picky.
date.
Take her swimming on the first date.
Yeah, wash that makeup off, see what she really looks like.
Go have her interview at the Bikini Barista coffee shop.
Kevin has to
Anytime
go to
I
bed.
think of like...
All right, night, Kevin. Thanks for joining us.
Good night, Kevin.
Night, Kevin. Anytime I think of like Thailand females, I think of like the fucking scene from Star Wars where he's like, "It's a trap."
I don't know. I always think of Archer and that scene that I quoted where he's like, "I'll give you an extra $100 each if you're any of you are anatomical females." God damn it.
Yeah. But
Hey, you know what they say? Any port in a storm, right?
Even if it's the exhaust port.
Aim for the exhaust port, Luke.
Use the port. Stay on target. Stay on target.
Oh my!
I see your shorts. It's as big as mine.
Oh, thank you, thank you for that, Jason.
Rear Admiral reporting for duty.
Captain Rear Admiral. They've jammed the radar, sir.
But I mean, if you think about it, they get Admiral.
What's that, Dan? You cut out.
No, I said if you think about it, I said other than the seaman, the gayest man on a ship is the Rear Admiral.
Oh.
Well, except rear admirals are almost never on ships. I'm just saying. Just sorry.
Don't forget the old tail gunner.
Well, there's the coxswain. And yeah.
I can't really hold my phone straight. I'm laughing so hard. Jesus fucking Christ.
Derica was in the Navy, so she does know a lot about seamen.
Oh yeah,
I do.
She knows loads about semen.
I do. Loads and loads.
Let's just say those outfits are white for a reason.
Yeah, dress white.
Can't hide under the black light though.
Nope.
That's why there aren't any
So
black
do you hear
lights
that-
on the ships.
So I'm waiting to see what happens here, but I'm hearing that there's like a change in strategy now that after like all this fucking talk about how they want to remove Assad from Syria, they're talking about pulling the U.S. troops out of Syria now. I'm like
Trump.
All of a sudden, you change your mind?
Okay. Trump.
What were we talking about in the hot tub the other night? I've said this since before I lost any faith at all in any form of government.
Right.
Regime toppling has not worked ever.
No, never.
In the history of humankind.
Right.
No.
Because I says, dating back hundreds of years, and Kevin was like, well, it's a little further than that. It's like,
That's right. Mark was in the hot tub with us a week ago. That's right.
And it was nice. There's some interesting conversation in that hot tub.
Yeah, we're not.
Hot tub's the right place for it.
No.
Right. Did you guys ever see the hot tub episode of American Dad?
No.
Oh my god, it's fucking hilarious. Holy shit. He buys this old used hot tub from the 70s.
Oh, yeah. I seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm watching it the other day going
about that.
Yeah, and I was watching it the other day thinking, did I fucking get high and forget about it? What the hell am I watching?
Oh. Yeah, going back to what Dan was just saying about Syria and Trump pulling out, Trump says he wants to pull out, right? And then
that is what he told Stormy Daniels.
The liberal media is complaining. The liberal media is complaining that he wants to end the war in Syria.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. Well, the anti-war left had to go back into hibernation.
The anti-war left was complaining that he wanted to end the war.
That's crazy.
Because it's Trump.
Yeah. And
they're also complaining that.
And then just to top it all off,
complaining about how he wants to meet with fucking Kim Jong-un too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it's Trump. Yeah. And then to top it all off, there was a quote unquote chemical attack. Quote unquote.
Yeah, I just saw that earlier.
On civilians.
The last chemical attack.
Hey,
the last chemical. Yeah.
Didn't they find one of those in 1999 at the tannery they bombed?
I don't know.
In Afghanistan, and then didn't that happen again? Wait, who was it? What's that guy's name? Oh yeah, Saddam Hussein.
Yeah.
In chemical weapons, isn't that
It just conveniently happens every time.
No. Okay, it conveniently happens.
Assad, didn't they see that with Assad too? Yeah, I'm just not seeing what's happening.
A little oily. Oh no, they're gonna find chemical weapons in my beard.
It conveniently
find a biohazard in here, maybe.
It conveniently happens.
Unless you have poppies in your beer, they're not going to be looking.
Yeah, the quote unquote chemical attack that happened the other day conveniently happened in an area that is pro-Assad, large civilian, not military. Come on, right? It happened. It happened.
Coincidence.
It happened in a civilian area that Assad controlled. That was pro.
Everybody knows it's just a coincidence.
In a war that he's winning.
Southern Syria. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. That's my argument I always made is why the fuck would he gas his own people if he's in the middle of winning a war?
Right, exactly. And that's the point that I actually just tried to make that point to my incredibly right wing Catholic grandmother earlier, because she was all talking about it, and I'm like, look, this makes no sense. This is completely antithetical to his entire strategy. Why would he go, oh, hey, I'm winning, and the international communities leave me alone, so I think I'm going to go ahead and violate every treaty known to man so that everyone hates me.
Yeah.
Right, and it's not the same area, but I want to bring it up that back in 2014, when Obama was still in office, there was a lot of pressure to arm the quote modern Syrian rebels.
Yeah.
That there was another gas attack, supposedly. There's another supposed gas attack that the UN found. Go fuck the UN, number one. But the UN found that the moderate Syrian rebels actually launched.
Yeah, and they launched on the day that they showed up too.
Yes.
Yeah. It's so obvious that it's fucking ridiculous. Like the one sarin gas attack where the people were handling these victims without any protective gear on.
Yeah, the
They're
White
just, like,
Hats.
closing down.
The White Hats or White Helmets, whatever they were.
Yeah.
No protection
total-
gear, no gloves, no nothing like that. And they're handling these bodies that had supposedly died from a gas attack.
Yeah. And then the even more obvious thing is that they give They gave the people that made the fucking documentary about the white helmets or white hats or whatever the fuck they're called.
White helmets.
Yeah, white helmets. They made a documentary about them, and they got an Oscar for it. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this couldn't be more like obvious of like a CIA prop piece than like. It's fucking ridiculous, man.
Yeah,
but Syria is a fucking mess all in itself, and then like you got the rest of the Middle East because it's like you got like warring factions in the north between Turkey and the YPG and all those people in Kurdistan, in northern Iraq, and then you got Israel trying to take the Golan Heights in the southern Syria because Genie Energy, which is run by like Rupert Murdoch and the Rothschilds and Bill Colby, who was like former head of the CIA, and a whole bunch of other bigwigs pretty much own and run this like oil company called Genie Energy, and they're the ones extracting all the oil out of the areas that ISIS controlled.
You know what it is? Is Syria put their country in the middle of where the U.S. was going to put a pipeline. That's what it is.
Well, that too. Israel wanted to run a pipeline there through there too.
They built their country on a pipeline that we were going to build like 100 years after they developed their country. They're begging for it. They're begging for war.
If they didn't want war, they wouldn't have built their country so close to all of our military bases.
That's
pretty obvious.
Exactly.
That
wasn't Israel, U.S. interest. It doesn't really much matter.
No. Yeah. Well, the funny thing is that like when the Syrian army went and took over Ghouta there, that was like under ISIS control, they found like a huge cache of Israeli weapons.
Imagine that.
Under ISIS control and shit. And I'm like, it just like keeps coming out. Like they're providing medical aid to these people, they're providing arms to these people. Then you have videos
like humanitarians. Clearly, is the answer.
That's what it is. Yeah, ISIS is bad, you guys. We have to get rid of them.
And the fucking crazy thing is like
buying Joe's plumbing truck.
No, they are trying to get rid of them. They're extending the hand of friendship to make them see, like the Care Bear said.
They're clearly just isolated and disaffected citizens.
Yeah,
they need to be brought back into the fold.
Yeah. Because they don't have any use anymore after we got rid of Gaddafi and Mubarak and
the crazy thing is that they're letting these people back into like
they just need more freedom there. That's the problem.
That's what it
is. Canada and Europe and shit.
We're gonna freedom the shit out of them, like we've done in Syria.
Like, well, they let these people back into like I think England or something, like these former ISIS fighters, and they were like, "Oh, we apologize for the beheadings that we did," and they were like, "Oh, it's okay. Like, we'll just retrain you and integrate you back into society."
As long as they don't carry knives in London, the mayor will be happy.
It's like,
and sorry about all the irreplaceable ancient relics we destroyed because
Oops, sorry about that. They weren't important though, right? Like you guys
like somebody got copies somewhere, right?
Like we were worried about it, and then somebody said they're priceless, and I'm like, oh, okay, as long as they're not valuable.
Right.
It's kind of crazy that like they always go after the artifacts too, because like that was one of the first things that like the United States went after was like the secret like museums and shit that Saddam had like underground of like ancient Sumerian relics and all that stuff.
When you destroy the past, you destroy the culture. When you destroy the culture, you're able to guide it in the direction that you want it to go.
You control the future.
Right. Yeah, you control the future.
That's what Orwell said.
Oh, well, Orwell was a smart man, if that's what he said.
Yeah, man.
No,
he was a socialist, though.
Yeah, this is true.
I was so bummed. I was so bummed when I learned Jack London was a socialist. That made me so upset.
Who was?
Jack London.
Jack London.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
the guy that wrote White Fang.
Was Call of the Wild?
Call of the Wild, yeah.
Into the Wild, yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, the whole thing is like there's a lot of people that were socialists. Like Huxley was a socialist. H.G. Wells was a socialist. Bertrand Russell, Orwell, all those guys are part of the Fabian Socialist Society. But it was like, I don't know if they were like giving a, kind of like a red flag, like, hey, look out for this shit because this is what we got coming down the pipeline.
Or if they were like drawing a blueprint.
Or yeah, exactly. Or if they were like predictively programming like the masses to be like, okay, well, like we're gonna get you acclimated to like what's the plan here.
Yeah. Comment. Someone said that Jack London wrote "People of the Abyss," and apparently that's a very socialist novel.
Well, socialism does tend to spiral everyone towards the abyss, so I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of war and hurling toward the abyss, the Petro-Yaun helps Russia and China dump the U.S. dollar in oil trade.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
How about that?
Yep. China is the world's biggest crude consumer and buys most of its oil from Russia. However, the settlement are still in U.S. dollars. The launch of the Petro-Yaun now allows Moscow and Beijing to use national currencies instead.
Well, that's it. That's the nail in the coffin. The U.S. economy is dead.
Well, see, that's the whole thing, and they're gonna move right up to the fucking top of the high interest targets list.
Well, if you think about it and try to remember a little bit, the U.S. has been grooming Russia and China for a long time, and to another world war. I mean, with the whole Russian agents and the interfering in the election and the poisoning and kicking out the consulates, and then in addition to China with the new trade embargoes, and the stuff that they're doing with Japan and all that is just it's been hammering up for a while.
Well, we're kind of wagging the dog, with both of them and have been for some time. But it's, what I think is funny is that you see all that stuff going on with Russia simultaneously in Syria. To tie back into that, I mean, we're attacking all of these Russian-backed allies and then accusing them of all these atrocities and everything. We're totally setting this up, and simultaneously we're getting into a trade war with China. And then people wonder why I buy body armor and a ton of weapons. Like, are you serious?
Yeah, isn't there an established pipeline to Russia, like that Russia uses?
Yeah,
that runs through Syria.
No. Hold on. There's
a battle for that.
There's two proposed pipelines that go through Syria. One goes east to west.
Oh, right.
And
right.
That's the U.S. backed one, and then there's one that goes southeast to north, and that's into Europe. That's the Russia backed one. And that has been the cause of the proxy war in Syria for the last 2.5 years.
But it also plays into like geopolitical strategic moves too, in terms of like Ukraine.
When the U.S. was back in
Ukraine,
the U.S. armed neo-Nazis in Ukraine.
Yeah, so we take out Ukraine. Yeah, we overthrow Ukraine to get that under control. So that's on Russia's doorstep, and then we try to take out Syria because that would control Russia's access to their naval ports in the Mediterranean, which is their only access point to the Mediterranean, which would cut them off, and then you could cut them off at the Black Sea. And then on top of that, it was kind of a multi-pronged deal because like they wanted to overthrow Assad because then that leads to them weakening Iran's control over the Middle East.
Yeah, and in addition to that, let's throw in the North Korea stuff. Let's throw in all the fucking with North Korea. North Korea and Russia have a long-standing labor agreement. North Korea has labor camps all out through Russia.
Well, and they're closely aligned with China.
Most of China. Of China.
Yep. And
there
China,
are still parts of China that aren't aligned with the rest of it, like Hong Kong and.
Well, Hong Kong's still under. I think Hong Kong's
independent providence now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because Hong Kong got surrendered. It's not under British rule anymore. It's
that was in like '93 or something.
Yeah,
That was a while ago.
it's been a while.
ago.
Well, I know it's like one of the most like capital areas in all of China, and it's like fucking thriving.
Yeah, and most of the economy of the rest of China feeds off of Hong Kong like an enormous fucking leech.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
it's weird how China operates because they have like a free enterprise system that operates like kind of like coincides with their communist system, which is weird.
Right, because they know that communism can't fucking survive on its own. You have to have some kind of free market to exploit to make it work.
They might very much have a tier caste system, not entirely unlike India.
Did you guys realize that people from Hong Kong are called Hong Kongers?
No.
Hong Kongers.
I mean, at least according to Wikipedia, so you know everything on Wikipedia is true.
That sounds
highly accurate.
Move on Urban Dictionary. With this chick, man, I pulled a Hong Konger.
It makes sense if you consider for how long.
I think you mean the Kong Donger.
How long Britain ruled Hong Kong. That's a very British thing.
Okay,
that's
so
like calling people the name of the city and then ERS at the end. That's a very British thing.
Yeah,
it was 97 when it reverted to China.
Oh, okay. I was trying to remember when Rush Hour came out.
Yeah, there you
go. According to Urban Dictionary, Hong Kong is a Korean saying for making someone climax during oral sex.
What's the point otherwise?
Disappointingly tame.
Yeah, what's the point otherwise? We just call that oral sex because if you don't make them come, it doesn't fucking count.
Exactly.
Okay.
I got a good one for you guys.
I was thinking of a good retort to that, but I couldn't.
Yeah, Urban Dictionary says, sit to Hong Kong is the Korean way of saying, I will rock your world.
Love you long time.
You guys ever heard of a mud cricket?
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
It's a female who wears short shorts and cowgirl boots and will blow anyone with a lifted vehicle. Often found rolling around in a mud hole or getting railed in the woods.
Yes.
Listen
I'm saying, dude, I drive.
She's not a whore, but
trust me, I've heard of mud cricket.
I live in Virginia. That's a significant portion of the population around here.
Yeah,
they're all mud crickets.
Yeah.
Yeah. They go near the mud hole. Oh no, I fell down. Oh, I fell down again.
Yeah.
Let me pour the water.
My shirt's all wet.
Yeah, let me get this mud off my shirt.
Oh no, my tit fell out of my tube top. Oh.
I kept falling onto his dick. Now I'm eligible for welfare.
Over and over and over.
I broke up with my brother.
No.
All right,
I left my third cousin for you.
I got a really good one. Derek is gonna love this one.
Okay, let's hear it.
This is from St. Peters, Missouri. Judge rules.
This is better than Sharon Peters, Missouri.
Judge rules couple must grow grass in yard even though one homeowner is allergic.
Oh,
what the fuck?
Fucking HOA, right? Is it a fucking HOA?
No, it is not an HOA.
Fascist.
Nope. A federal judge ruled a St. Peters couple must grow grass in their yard to follow the city's ordinance, even though one of the homeowners is allergic to grass.
Oh my God.
Carl and Janice Duffner have lived in the same St. Peters home since 2002. The couple planted a flower garden with no turf grass because Janice is allergic. Quote, it's a garden that takes on a life of its own, but the work of Mark Letgo's next door neighbor, Janice Duffner, a pleasure to some, but not all. Neighbors complained about Janice's garden back in 2014. Quote, some of the people are saying it's going to bring down the value of our home.
Oh goodness!
Oh my God! So it's
yeah,
basically an
as you know
HOA.
how. Yeah,
Like it's no different than an HOA, but it's just not fucking called that, and people went through the county and used the force of law.
Yeah, Duffners were told they were in a violation of a city ordinance. It's the law that says residents must have at least 50% turf grass in their yard.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
come around with a fucking ruler and measure everybody's grass.
I mean, you know what they should do? Here's what I would do. I would like build me a hill, like a trellis.
Yeah.
With as steep of an angle as I could, as close to 90 degrees as I could, that would hold fucking grass seed.
50% of my yard area.
It's just like one tower of grass.
Grass.
Just to be an asshole.
Yeah, quote, it's not drugs or anything like that. We're just talking about grass. Like that's the rationale for it.
It's not cool.
Keep off my grass, man.
The attorney for Carl and Janice Duffner said if an appeal to the judge's ruling does not work, he will take the case to the U.S. Supreme Court. David Rowland, this is the lawyer, said he did not feel comfortable with his clients talking about the case Thursday. Instead, he released a statement. Okay, the statement's absolutely fantastic.
Well, there's a statement, so that's cool.
Yeah. The court's ruling is bad for anyone who thinks they have a constitutional right to use their private property in lawful, harmless ways and to decide for themselves who and what will be allowed on their private property. If the government can force the Duffners to plant grass instead of the flowers they prefer, there is nothing that would prevent a local government from forcing property owners at their own expense to put in and maintain a fence or a swimming pool or holiday lights. And it is not utterly absurd that the government can threaten its citizens with hundreds of thousands of dollars and 20 years in prison simply because they would rather have lawful, harmless flowers on their property rather than a plant that makes them sick. The next step, appeal to the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals. We feel like we have a good chance of getting this decision overturned.
Well, what's ridiculous about it is that, grass is, even ignoring everything else, grass is the most watered crop in the world. In the United States, I saw a statistic the other day that it's like 59 point something million square meters, whatever the measurement is, of water that's used to water grass. The next closest is alfalfa, which is only a quarter that much. And those are like cash crops that we're talking about. And grass uses 4 times. It uses 8 times as much as rice.
And grass is completely indigestible by human beings.
Exactly.
It serves
you would think that you would promote gardens and fruit trees and things like that are actually produce something worth worth your time and energy.
Well, we're not talking about they had 86 Chrysler New Yorkers on blocks in their front yard. This is a garden, people.
That's like having a fucking dude with a peanut allergy act out like fucking George Washington Carver's life or some shit.
Right.
See, but the thing of it is it's not as silly as it seems over grass. Anything. Did you guys see the story that
it's your fucking
Lisa DeLasio posted the other week?
You should be able to do whatever the hell you want with it.
There's I forget where it was, but it's called The Little Pink House. They made a story about it, or wrote a movie about it.
I don't know how well this is going to come through, but it doesn't look terrible. It does not look terrible at all. It looks like a well-maintained lawn. It's not obtrusive or anything. It just looks like they don't like grass, which is
just a giant dick with a sky cloth hanging on it.
Yeah, there is that part, but
I find that offensive.
Yeah,
they should find it offensive after this.
Tear that monument down.
That's kind of like the ultimate Stockholm syndrome right there. How dare the government tell me what to do with my land? Yay, government!
Yeah.
Right.
Fly the American flag.
I felt the same way when Chelsea Manning came out of prison. To see Chelsea Manning, I was like, what the hell? That made no sense to me. But yeah, these people, there's like, to force them to grow grass is to make a victim of them because the lady is allergic to grass.
Right.
Like I like there's an argument that could be made here that their neighbors growing grass hurts them more than the couple not having grass.
Well, and it does.
It absolutely does, but there you don't have the right to tell other people
somebody that's allergic to cats. That's like somebody that's allergic to cats telling them they have to own cats.
Right. Or like if Caleb were still in public school and they were serving something with chia seeds in it, so I sent him his own lunch that day. And then fucking trying to throw me in jail for, changing what he was eating that day because he's allergic to what they're serving.
No, but everybody in this apartment complex has to use this particular laundry detergent. Oh, well, it makes me break out. Nope, you have to use it.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, it's no different than living, out in the boonies where, I've spent most of my life, and with urban sprawl going on, they run public sewer or public water and say, you've got to connect to this. And everybody thinks, oh, cool. Well, then the county or whatever authority, municipality is like, yeah, but it's going to be $18,000 for us to, connect to it.
That you have to pay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, not that comes out of your taxes or whatever. It's like you cut them a check for
they
whatever they tell you.
Yeah, they just did that here in La Crosse, Wisconsin to last summer to my octogenarian grandparents. They said, oh, well, we're going to rip all of these city pipes out and replace them, and you have to reconnect to it, but on your dime. By the way, it's going to be $34,000 for you to do that.
Exactly.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's never like a couple hundred,
Right?
No, because nothing the government does is cheap. Well, okay,
and then you got to buy the water from them.
Yeah, the work they do is cheap,
or pay for your shit to go out through their pipes.
It's inexpensive.
And they're not responsible for any of the work they do. It's always the
no guarantees.
Forced to use their service.
With them, on top of that, they also wouldn't let them just use their own plumber. It had to be one of these specific, 3 that the city had approved, and that was it. That was all they had.
Yeah. Yeah,
well, that's cronyism right there.
The ones who provided the best kickbacks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the one is actually the brother of one of the city council members. So.
Oh, surprise!
Imagine that.
Jerica, we need your shock face, Jerica.
What's that?
You need your shock face on that one.
No nepotism there.
Yeah, Jerica's totally shocked. We're all totally shocked about that. We've never seen that happen before.
Yeah.
No.
Totally.
How about? All right, let's go some good news. Let's go. Somebody actually winning against the government.
Oh yeah.
Judge blocks Iowa town from shutting down or suing resident over his critical website. This is the government
critical of
the government, yeah, of the city.
Mission critical.
No.
No. It's absolutely imperative. The world
the government of a small town in Iowa has just received a slapdown from the U.S. federal court.
We call it the podunk hater.
It's not far from that. The public servants running Sibley, Iowa, population less than 3,000, decided it was going to eliminate one resident's First Amendment rights because he wouldn't stop telling people moving to Sibley was a bad idea.
Is that one of those places where they offered a free acre if you lived there for 5 years and built a house?
No, 40 acres and a mule.
I was say, what is it, William to Sherman?
No, there's a lot of counties in the Midwest that are doing that.
His entire issue is with the smell. It all began when a meat byproduct processing plant that moved to the small town, creating jobs and a powerful stench. resident Jeremy Harms approached the town council about the nasty smell several times, but was blown off repeatedly. News of the quote-unquote blood plant's unpleasant odor began making news around the state, but it was Harms' personal website that finally drove the town into violating the First Amendment rights. The town lawyer sent Harm a legal threat, telling him to stop criticizing the town on his website and strongly suggesting he tried to be more positive about the stink hole he lived in.
It smells like ass. It's a great place to live, though.
Yeah, Harm backed down and altered his website, but he also got in touch with the ALCU, which took up the case and has sued the town over the rights violation. Less than a month later, Harms is free to disparage his town and its so-called leadership. Federal Judge Leonard T. Strand has granted a permanent injunction against the town of Sibley, preventing it from silencing Harms in perpetuity.
It's amazing that somebody even has to tell somebody that. I mean, government officials that
that doesn't actually surprise me with a small town, though. It really doesn't.
No,
but doesn't it just inspire confidence that the very people whose job it is to run the government don't even know their own rules?
Oh, of course not.
Doesn't
There's so many of them.
Inspire confidence. Yeah. Well, okay. But the Bill of Rights, everybody should fucking know that. I mean, every civil servant would know that shit.
Yeah.
It just goes to lend to the thing of, we can't be trusted to rule ourselves, but we have to have to elect people to do it for us.
Exactly.
Because they're smarter.
Yeah, not only can
they're smarter and doggone it, people like
Not only can Harms restore his quote "should you move" site to its former, more caustic glory, he can get his other website, Sibley Stinks, up and running. On top of that, he's also going to be collected from the town for his troubles.
Nice.
In addition to not demanding that Hobbs alter his website and threatening suit, the city agreed to provide training for the First Amendment to all its staff, issued a written apology to Harms, and paid $20,475 in attorney fees and $6,500 in damages.
Huh. Now,
First Amendment training. What the fuck is that?
This raises the question of First Amendment training.
They have the First Amendment done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Read the fucking First Amendment of the Bill of Rights. How much training do you need? You can't fucking oppress people and tell them what they can and can't say or think. Easy. I mean, they have to conduct training to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Apparently.
Well, technically,
I
am making a training film.
I will come do the training for the bargain price of tree fitting.
Tree fitting. That's a hell of a deal.
How many about tree fitting?
I don't know.
Tree fitting.
Andrew, we've got a
we got
some smack talking about your homeland here.
Oh.
All of Wisconsin smells like shit. Changed my mind.
It does not. There is a huge portion of it that, in fact, smells like beer. So
that's what I said. Cheese and beer for the win. That's my comment.
No, like lacrosse, where I live in particular, we have the City Brewery, which if anyone drinks Mike's Hard Lemonade, and I don't know why you would, but if anyone does, it's made here.
Because you're chasing a mud cricket.
Arizona iced tea is made here. I'm just letting that go.
Mark. Mark. Oh, you win.
I have a big truck. I don't need to chase mud crickets. They chase me. See?
Well, you gotta lure them in. It's like attractant.
Rev the engine.
That's
right, baby. So,
yeah.
No, they don't smell. It doesn't smell like. I mean, well, and first of all, that's an awful generalized statement. I mean, what kind of shit? Some of it smells like pig shit. Some of it smells like cow shit. A little bit of it smells like horse shit. I mean,
Okay.
And there is a big difference.
Right there you have it, that cheese. And then for real though, except maybe on the lakes with the nice cliffs and stuff.
So like the North Woods. He's saying like everything's either farmland or North Woods, which isn't entirely wrong, but like that's actually kind of close. But no, like here in La Crosse, like the problem is if the wind is blowing from the north, it doesn't smell bad. Everything's great. But if the wind starts blowing from the south, it's blowing up past the brewery and past the sewage treatment plant. So you get this
lovely,
perfect combination of the krausening process, which if you've never smelled is a thing to behold.
I have.
And human shit, both. And then a couple of years ago, somebody inadvertently hit the emergency release valve on the world's largest six-pack for their krausening vats and spilled all of that into like the streets. And the whole city was like uninhabitable for like 3 days. And of course it was like in fucking July too. So
I have a DuPont sheetrock factory like 1.5 miles north of me, and when the wind blows off the water, you can smell it. It's terrible.
Okay, but you guys, but Virginia stinks naturally. It has nothing to do with.
It's all this shit floating out of
there's no factories or manufacturing, so smell from that.
This whole
This
whole state just smells like a fucking wet dog. I'm not joking. Like, seriously, my kids go play in the summertime. They come back and they smell like fucking wet dogs. It's just
New York
the air
smells
in
lovely.
It stinks.
Are you sure they're not being followed around by like a black bear? Like,
no, I'm positive. No, but
I just think you're not used to the country yet, nice. Derica.
Oh, bullshit. I grew up in the country, but in a country that smells good in the Pacific Northwest, where it smells like pine needles.
And spruce.
Smells like
this shit
mold
smells
and...
like fucking rotting leaves and bogs and shit.
Mm-hmm. See, where I live
Virginia
between the river and the mountains, it's fucking lovely here.
Yeah.
Especially
other than it's in New Yorkistan.
San Francisco Bay Area. Ask me about smells.
If it wasn't for the fucking taxes, it'd be wonderful. What did you say, Jason?
I said San Francisco Bay Area. Ask me about smells.
Yeah, word, dude.
No, I've been to San Francisco. I don't need to ask.
Did you get the treat?
The
San Francisco treat?
Rice-a-roni?
I'm pretty sure there's a city ordinance that has to be served with every meal.
Yeah, you can't
along with the grass.
You can't have hollow points.
I'm sure they have some banging Chinese food there, though.
Well,
yeah.
How much sense does that make? No. You can't.
I had some.
Let me guess. It's all at the end of the railroad, right?
I had some really good, like barbecued artichoke down on Pier 31 when I was there.
Nice.
You know what I'm having right now? Let me tell you what the best food in the world is right there.
No, lots of good Mexican.
Old Bay cheese curls.
Nice,
suck it, bitches.
Oh, yeah, the West Coast has bomb ass Mexican food. You're right.
That's fucking Maryland to fucking to the core right there,
too. So.
Right.
That's right. You know
Mexico Light is where you're at. And
I am in Mexico Light. Yeah.
Mexico
I'm cool with it.
Virginia doesn't have anything except mud crickets, apparently.
I'm half an hour.
I'm still waiting for the taco trucks on every corner.
Right, me too.
Oh my god! Okay, did you guys see the article about Vicente Fox's T-shirts?
No.
Vicente Fox, the ex
former president,
former president of Mexico. He is making shirts. Let me bring up the article real quick. It is Vicente Fox trolls Trump with "hands are too small" T-shirt.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Yeah, former
I need those.
Former president.
I will
of Mexico,
put my home address out on the internet if somebody sends me one of those.
Former president of Mexico Vicente Fox is taunting President Trump with a T-shirt that says Trump can't build the border wall if his quote hands are too small. Fox is selling the shirt to raise money for a leadership training fund. The shirt depicts Trump as a baby building a wall with toy blocks, wearing a soiled diaper made from an American flag,
That's like the
jabbing
beautiful.
shit ever, dude.
That part's good.
Yeah, it's there. If you guys can see
It's
that,
like the
right
pettiest shit ever.
It's
Oh my gosh.
it's absolutely fucking fantastic, you guys.
It's almost as fantastic as his mustache, actually.
Yeah. It is a lot better than I thought it was, but I thought it would be.
The upside about having tiny hands, though, is that when you jerk off, your hand
Are you gonna lay
it's
down?
fucking huge.
Oh my god, that content's enormous. Look at that.
You guys have heard of the stranger,
I mean,
right?
that's why you only date women with small hands, right?
What's that, Derica?
I said you guys have heard of the stranger, right?
Yep.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, you sit on your hand till it's numb, so it feels like somebody else is doing it.
How do you know about that? Who told you?
Come on now. Come on now.
Yeah.
How do you think I know about it?
Derica asked the little man in the rowboat.
Look, Derica stays current with all male culture because Derica is raising 4 boys. All right.
Yeah. God bless her.
Yeah.
Hey, my
Say a
mama,
prayer for me, fam.
my mama raised 4 boys also.
I always
Yeah.
do.
No.
Yeah.
Hey, my mom's raising 2 currently and did raise 2, so.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was half your size though. She was like 5'2", 110 pounds.
That is half my size.
Yeah. Us boys.
But
us boys.
as big as I am, for a
Derek
woman,
is
you guys
nearly
have seen my
freakishly
cover
tall.
photo. Yeah, for real. But you
Like,
guys
you
have seen my
wouldn't
cover
guess it.
photo. Like the boys still dwarf me. The older boys, like they're still at least a head taller than me. They're huge. It's ridiculous. These kids are just fucking ridiculous.
I got one more really funny one, guys, and then I want to
It's
get
all
on
those
to
hormones.
I want to get on to a serious one.
Dude, White Russian, guys.
She also makes a mean white Russian.
That's just like your opinion, man.
And pistachio brittle. Tell them about my
shit.
pistachio brittle.
Oh, man.
Get the fuck
Yeah,
out
it's
of here.
terrible. Terrible. You guys wouldn't like it. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah, send it
Pistachios
all
are
to
like my
Mark for
favorite thing.
disposal.
Pistachios
Fuck
are
it.
unfairly addictive.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Oh, and when they get put into brittle,
Oh my god,
that
dude.
shit is the bomb.
Specifically my brittle. Specifically my
Yeah,
brittle.
your brittle is banging.
Yeah.
If you're not,
You
if you're not,
probably deal that shit in little baggies on the corner. Like,
Yeah.
You could,
Yeah,
dude.
she
Paul
could.
Gordon would be my best customer.
I don't know. I think he's still kind of butthurt about that
Oh,
picture because he didn't really ever
maybe.
respond much.
Maybe. Well, he put a little angry face on my comment.
yep, you got it. You got to bring back the confectioner pump, Derica.
I know.
Word.
I know. Just,
If she
we've had
starts
so
selling
much
that shit
going
on the corner, me and Mark are gonna like roll up in a nondescript van wearing sunglasses and shit like that. We'll
You're
do
a roll a dealer
Caramel and peanut brittle.
You say?
and Buckeyes. Buckeye. Don't forget
And
the Nutella
Buckeyes.
Buckeyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They know about
Paleo
Buckeye.
brownies.
Yeah.
oh shit,
We
that
know who'd
totally
roll up
reminded
if I
me
did.
got home peanut butter cups in the fridge. Yes.
Nice.
Floor.
All right. Speaking of food, all right. Speaking
That's
of food,
right. Andrew's the only person here who's never had my candy.
Oh, that's right.
Or
I
Jason.
haven't.
Jason, you haven't.
I
That's
thought you
right.
got caramels.
Nope.
No, he's lactose intolerant.
I passed on them next. I'm lactose tolerant.
Oh, that's right.
That sucks.
Yeah, it does.
I was trying to convince you that it's worth it. I remember that now.
It's worth the trip to the hospital.
Right.
All right. Former Venezuelan vice president.
Taking you guys with me. I need to smoke.
Supermarkets would be full if people didn't eat so much.
Wait, is he so he's saying that his starving population are a bunch of fatties? That's the
Yes.
implication.
It actually mentions in the article.
Looks like
here,
them little African kids, you know, they got the
that-
big bellies. Of course they ate a lot.
It's actually mentioned in the article here that the average Venezuelan lost 11 kilograms, or about 24 pounds, in weight since the economy has collapsed, and 90% now live in poverty.
That's like not even funny to laugh about, but it's like it's so fucking ridiculous.
No, okay. Venezuelan former vice president turned minister of education. Elias Hua claimed in remarks this weekend that the country's depleted supermarkets will be full if people did not eat so much. In a televised speech,
oh my god!
In a televised speech, Hua said that although Venezuela's malnutrition crisis was, quote, a timely issue, it had, and I quote, not at all affected people's fundamental right to access food.
Is he suggesting
they have the right to do it? They
like,
just didn't have the ability.
Right?
Yeah, quote, a growing demand and possibilities to acquire food by the Venezuelan people are what has presented a great challenge for our country to produce more and more food every day. If
Not true. They got all kinds of garbage dumps. They just pick out of
that.
Any food every day.
If the Venezuelan people did not eat, surely the shelves would be full.
Well, yeah, if they were all dead already from starvation, it probably would be the case. I mean, I can't argue with that, but it seems like that's maybe not the direction you want to go.
It's almost like running every aspect of everyone's lives is a little too much work for a fucking government.
It gets better. It gets better, Derek.
Oh god,
it gets better. And again, this is his talking. Quote: "Thank God there is a Bolivarian revolution, and our people have a right to eat meat, chicken, milk that they did not have 10 or 14 years ago."
You mean 10 or 14 years ago when they weren't fucking starving to death and fighting over scraps in the streets?
Well, yeah, I mean, it seems to me like saying, as you're starving, well, at least you have a right to eat beef and like milk. Yeah. It's a little superfluous when it's like, well, hey, you totally have a right to cold fusion, so what are you bitching about?
Right. And the award for shittiest consolation prize goes to
Well, you
dark humor,
heard,
like food, not everyone gets.
Well, you guys heard how Venezuela is dealing with the hyperinflation, right? With their currency.
Crypto.
Crypto.
No. Okay. No. Okay. So there's an issue, right? Electronic scales and credit card readers and things like that. Cash registers. They only have a certain number of spaces, right? It's like
digits.
It's like 10, Zimbabwe all over again,
right? So it's like 10 digits.
Yeah.
Well, inflation in Venezuela is so high that people are having to take the total amount, divide it by 3, and plug that amount in, and then just charge people 3 times.
Yep.
Oh my god.
So they solved this problem by cutting 3 zeros off the end of their currency.
Wait, like they just arbitrarily declared, nope.
Yeah.
This $100,000 is now $1,000.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't work that way. That's not how this works.
No.
That's not how any of this works.
$100,000 would be $100.
Okay, whatever. I'm not a math scientist. All right.
Yes.
Math scientist.
That's all right, Andrew. You're good at strategy.
You guys ever notice though that commies have like a really hard time with like fucking providing food for people?
And math.
Commies have a really hard time with just about everything.
Well, that too. But like they always fight against the natural order of things instead of like, allowing things to be the way they are and then working with it.
Everybody starving is better than something being unfair.
This is the same country whose currency is valued at less than Pepe memes.
Yeah.
Right? You guys remember that?
Yeah.
So clearly they need to go on the Pepe dollar.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they
meme economy, here we come.
No, it's the Venezuelan government has started its own cryptocurrency, supposedly backed by their oil reserves.
Yeah. And like precious stones and shit too.
Yep.
And Trump has quality shit.
Yeah, and Trump has banned Americans from buying the Venezuelan cryptocurrency.
I don't see. That's another one of those super superfluous gestures.
Right.
Like I'm gonna ban people from being able to buy Edsels. Like, what? Okay.
Right.
Like,
I think I read that before too. If we can't own gold,
if you're buying cryptocurrency, it's counter to the entire point of a nationally recognized cryptocurrency created by a government.
Well, and not only that, but how ridiculous is it that a country whose people can't even afford food thinks that cryptocurrency is going to work? Because, you kind of need, like, I don't know, money to buy computers and things in order to do anything with it.
Right.
And you can't afford
Exactly.
that. Or, I don't know, like electricity, maybe? Like, let's maybe think about that.
Yeah, I don't think they understand how it works.
Well, the inner party probably has plenty of money.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because that's usually how it works.
Yeah, but how much is their money worth?
Those people are not starving at all.
No.
Oh, no, I bet
Those
not.
people are not. They are not the ones fighting over garbage.
Right.
Because they're making world most glorious for people's revolution, comrade.
Yeah.
Bulgarian revolution, so that you have a right to eat meat, chicken, and milk.
If you can find it.
Like, I don't understand how people
You know,
don't get it yet.
that
Like,
actually-
well, what
it's
did Maxine
people
Waters
selling you a
that
lot of
said
bullshit.
when they went to Cuba? They're like, no, Cuba's great. They've got ice cream.
The only thing that can make
starving in the
32
street in
flavors and
Caracas is fine. I mean, look, you got to join
Maxine Waters also asked if the Mars rover saw the flag planted there by Neil Armstrong. So,
that chick is. I'm actually between her and what's her face? The other one. Why am I spacing? The other really stupid.
the lady from Austin, Texas.
I think so. Yeah, I can't remember her name.
Sheila something.
Sheila
Lee.
Jackson
Sheila
Lee.
Jackson.
Lee,
Yeah. Between those two, I actually have trouble figuring out which one is actually the dumbest
Stupider.
human being in Washington, D.C. when they're there. Like, who is actually dumber?
Well, don't
Yeah,
forget
right.
the guy who thought Guam was going to capsize.
You can't leave him out.
I would love to get them in a room with some hidden cameras and then just like set a Rubik's Cube down and watch them debate.
Let's make it even easier. Let's give them a Simon Says. See how they work that out.
When it says blue, does it really mean blue, or does it mean this other color?
Or
it
just-
kind of looks
just-
like blue. Maxine, that's red. No, it's it could
or
be
just
blue.
like a pack of Uno cards. You know.
It's like alphabetizing the M&Ms.
Separating the M's and the W's.
Oh, man.
And the threes. Don't forget the threes.
And the threes and the E's.
That's
No,
a good way to get
you
fired.
just tell them the M's and W's and be like, but then what do we do with the threes when you came back? So
You got to eat them. Everybody knows that.
So, amid a total collapse in the value of the Bolivarian currency, millions of Venezuelans are now suffering from the effects of malnutrition due to the scarcity and unaffordability of most food products. Supermarkets, many of which are owned by the government, have mostly empty shelves, and even suppliers fail to afford the import cost from abroad. That's another one of the things that Venezuela's doing is they the businesses can't use US dollars. So they have to change their money into the Bolivarian dollar, the Venezuelan dollar, and then use that to buy things. Which on the black market right now, I think it's like 240 to 1 or something like that. It's ridiculous. So.
Wouldn't one of their main problems lie in the fact that they import a lot of their stuff, though? Because you know what I mean. Like it's pretty fucking fertile land there. Like you would think they'd be able to farm all kinds of shit.
Yeah, except it's the government doing it. The government sees like all the fucking farmland, and they're the ones running
Well,
it.
of course.
And we all know how
that's what
efficient
happens.
government is.
That's what always happens. That's when they killed the kulaks in fucking the Soviet Union. They're doing it in South Africa right now with all the wind farmers.
Yeah.
Well,
Don't forget Indonesia.
that's been going on in South Africa for Oh my gosh,
since apartheid ended, really.
Yeah.
Like a long fucking time.
Well, and even before
I gotta
apartheid, you had
apologize.
that happen in
guy who just
Rhodesia
came to
after
power.
Bush Wars, and now it's spread to South Africa, and we're seeing it in Venezuela. And with all of these countries, it's mind-boggling because think of how resource-rich all of these places are, how much money they should have.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like the level of incompetence has to be absolutely mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know that the CIA is heavily involved in a lot of those countries too, though. Like especially Venezuela and like South America and like Central America, the CIA is heavily involved.
Well, yeah, I mean, they got to protect their cocaine crops.
Yeah.
They deal in opium. Don't be silly.
Yeah.
Okay. The Maduro regime has repeatedly denied the existence of starvation across the country. Last year, former foreign minister Delcy Rodriguez asserted, quote, "There is no hunger in Venezuela. There is only will. There is no humanitarian crisis in Venezuela. Only love."
I think we're dealing with very disparate definitions here.
Yeah.
Well, he's obviously in denial.
Yeah.
So do his coworkers?
Because I mean, like, how can you look at like
a maybe?
Hey, sorry if you guys just had to see my dick. I had to put my phone in my pocket.
We like it. We like
Thank
it.
God,
You know,
thank
we
God I
like
was looking
it.
at my phone.
Yeah.
One
so like
solution. One solution the government proposed was the introduction of rabbit farming. The country's Minister of Urban Agriculture, Freddie Burnell, called on Maduro to launch a campaign to change people's attitudes toward rabbits.
We're not starving, but we have to encourage you guys to eat the one mammal that reproduces faster than any other mammal.
Where instead of seeing them as pets,
actually rabbits are very good.
Quote, 2.5 kilos of consumable meat.
Yeah, of meat.
That's
but
because they've already
calories.
eaten the animals at the zoo.
Yeah, they ate the tiger, man. They ate I mean, I'm no expert on nutrition, but I think once you get to tiger eating, you have slipped right on past regular starvation.
Yeah, like Venezuela's not even in Africa, and they're still fucking eating bushmeat there.
Jesus Christ.
Import.
That's desperate.
It's a delicacy.
There was a big,
article. Not the fucking cow.
Millions of Asians and Indians can't be that wrong.
Yeah, there was a big article. There was a big article not long ago about how it was a national disgrace that they ate the giraffe.
That's terrible. Giraffes are awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but
dude, that's like insane.
Dude, can you imagine the tenderloin though? Holy shit.
You could get one hell of a roast off of that motherfucker like a
Jesus,
big plank.
The possibilities are endless.
Oh man, a giraffe has chuck for days, man. All the chuck roast you can get off of that.
But think about this, like as a socialist, how do you look at like an American grocery store and say, "Yeah, I don't want that"?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, Bernie Sanders looked at an American grocery store and said, "I don't need that many deodorants."
Exactly. Yeah. It's fucking ridiculous.
Did you guys see that meme going around with the little bird with two tufts of white feathers?
96% of my income.
What does this bird look like? It wants to raise my income tax rate.
That's so accurate.
Oh, that was funny shit.
Fucking prick.
Imagine if that bird actually sounded like him. Like it's just.
Yeah. All right, okay. Here, this is speaking of
chirp,
no refunds.
Chirp, chirp,
yeah, speaking of that,
chirp.
You know that bird really should be a blue jay because they like to steal the other.
They do. They're little fucking thieving assholes.
It's native to Brooklyn.
Little camp.
Or a magpie, you know.
Wait,
shiny.
Is it bluebird or Jewbird?
It's a Jewbird. I was just gonna say that, dude.
Gets run over trying to pick a penny up off the sidewalk.
In case anybody wants to know, that's spelled J-O-O.
It is a J-O-O bird.
I hear that gross pretty well. Oh,
damn.
God, hell is gonna be so fun.
Dude, it's so
Godwin number one.
Holocaust
Oh my god, we have to stop. I'm gonna pee.
I'm trying to smoke a cigarette with a stuffed up nose, and it's like the absolute worst. It's like torture.
Why don't you use your mouth? Why are you trying to use that's really inefficient.
Well, you got one for each nostril.
And you've missed 28 episodes of this, Andrew.
I know, Jesus, what the hell?
Yeah, man, you're welcome on any time.
Yeah, this
It's
has
always a
been
good
great.
time on Anarchy Among Friends roundtable discussion.
Now with 100% more Holocaust jokes.
Yeah, right. Oh, don't worry about that.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting stripped.
Hold
There ought
on
to be a law.
25 minutes. Tell Kristen to hold on 25 minutes, damn it.
Off come the pants.
Oh god.
Somebody says somebody in the comments just commented I've had bronchitis and you guys are making me cough to death too. Glad I caught you guys live for once. I just got over bronchitis. In the last episode I had bronchitis and I understand completely how you feel.
Yeah, I had some sort of plague last time too, so that seems to be a thing going on here.
I know what you guys are talking
See?
about. I'm all about the clean living.
Yeah. We stay healthy because we homeschool.
That's right.
But who said that they had bronchitis?
Observing the observer.
Oh.
Whoever that is in the comments.
It's Mark
You guys should
Zuckerberg.
like her,
Everybody
her
fucking
channel.
shut up.
I don't know who it is.
We're all gonna get zucked.
Is that Kristen?
No, she liked our page.
No.
No, observing the observer.
Yeah.
Oh.
She's a smoker dom.
Oh.
Oh.
I believe that's one of my friends on Twitter.
Yeah. Okay. I got all the fun and games you got. I got something a little more serious I want to talk about. I don't know if you guys know what the hell is their last name? Sarah and Andy Leach. Know them on Facebook. Andrew, you're shaking your head. You know them? Yeah.
I don't know who they are.
They're anarchists. They're kind of well known on Facebook.
They're Facebook famous. I should know them.
They got raided by the police for.
Oh,
their
I
posts.
saw that article that you posted.
Yeah, not just police, the SWAT team.
The SWAT team,
Jesus.
yeah. So, let's see. This I'm just gonna read part of this article. It's from shtfplan.com. My friend Sarah actually wrote it. Sarah Tipton. You guys know her.
Yeah, we know Sarah.
Well, she writes for them.
Yeah.
I miss Sarah. She hasn't really been on Facebook, has she?
No.
No, I haven't seen her in a long time.
I haven't been on Facebook in a while either.
I need to get her toffee recipe
we had
from her again because I don't know what I did with it.
Matt Wing commented, Dan. He said, blah 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 blah. He said, Dan, you're not on Facebook anymore. I told him about you getting permazucked, and he dropped his email. I gave him the links to your Twitter and Telegram.
Awesome.
So
thank you.
Yeah, dude, howdy on
Matt's
Twitter.
a good dude. I miss all my fucking Facebook peeps, man.
Yeah.
Why did you get on MeWe?
Yeah, get on MeWe.
I should get over. I should.
Yeah.
I need to get back into my MeWe account. I know a lot of people have tried to add me as a contact recently. That's all I know.
There's a big flood heading over that direction.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's like a rudimentary Facebook.
It's very rudimentary, yeah.
But it's cool. I mean, like it doesn't have a lot of the dumb shit that Facebook has.
It's almost like a halfway point between MySpace and Facebook.
You mean like Mark Zuckerberg, that kind of dumb shit?
No, not like that dumb shit.
No.
Like,
Cool.
Well, speaking of that dumb shit,
to be like
better
reminded that Andrew took a shit.
All right, so what was going on with
in my news feed?
Those guys got raided by the SWAT.
Okay, I'm just going to read what Sarah wrote. She said, "It is no longer a conspiracy theory, but a fact that people are being specifically targeted for their participation in what some call prepping and others dub survivalism. A couple from California had their home raided and were held without charges for making nonviolent posts on Facebook about survival techniques and thought-provoking discussions. We were able to sit down and chat with Sarah Leach about why the government felt it necessary to raid their home. She shared with her husband and what amounted to thought-provoking Facebook posts. Although Leach admitted she wasn't certain which particular Facebook posts led to the SWAT team seizing all of their handguns and AR-15s, she was sure nothing she had posted was violent. Leach said her posts were meant to provoke thought and hold those accountable who have committed crimes or human rights violations. Sarah talking, quote, "They are trying to create threats of our posts that are meant to elicit thought and discussion. If I ever posted something that was perceived as a credible threat of violence, it has been perceived as such erroneously. I have zero history of violent behavior. I have not threatened anyone. Rather, I have stated that police must be held accountable, as well as federal agents, for the multitude of crimes committed against citizenry, for massive tragedies like the Waco massacre and small incidents like traffic citations made via racial profiling. We, meaning Sarah and her husband Andy, have called for these individuals to be held accountable, not just by civilians, but by their own government." Okay, so Leach was able to get her story out to the Free Thought Project. The Leaches are the owners of a tactical supply company. Leach and her husband were violently arrested and detained for hours with no explanation while their home was raided by SWAT team and their assets were seized. But it gets worse. The couple was detained for over 13 hours without charges before being told the reason for their arrest. The subject that surfaced immediately was some high-capacity pistol magazines that the State Patrol had seized, then returned the year before, but they didn't seem to be the crux of the incident. Let's see. The Free Thought Project detailed the events that led up to the detainment of the Leaches. Leach said the ordeal began when she and her husband were running errands one morning. After they parked at a strip mall and got out of the car, a patrol car from the Riverside County Sheriff's Department pulled up and blocked their path. Two deputies got out and informed the couple that one of the taillights on the car was out. "We attempted to thank them and proceed, but were blocked from movement," Sarah Leach said. "It was at that point I noticed a few other sheriff's vehicles had arrived, including undercover vehicles. I realized this was not a traffic stop when I saw police agents in blue jeans with AR-15 surrounding the area. I began to record on my phone and would inquire as to whether I was being charged, detained, or was free to go. They violently cuffed me, threw my phone in the hood of the car, and shoved me in the back of the unair-conditioned police vehicle for about 1 hour until their supervisor arrived and began questioning me about the aforementioned magazines." So this is the arrest. This arrest is a year after the issue with the pistol magazines. Okay, this isn't like, bang, bang, bang. Quote, "More disturbing were the stacks of printed pages from my social media accounts, particularly those things which criticize police and government overreach, police violence, my personal ideologies regarding self-governance and the inalienable rights that we are afforded as human beings, and even memes and jokes they found as parts of evidence request a search warrant, including posts of a very subjective and ironic nature." So her Facebook posts were used as justification for the search warrant.
Jesus.
Right?
Yeah, they said they were going to do this.
Well, and the search warrant came after the raid, didn't it? If I remember correctly.
What I want to know is that during the day which we were in police custody without charges, mind you, we were interrogated about a series of Facebook posts originating from my personal Facebook wall, as well as comments that I had made on a friend's post. They also collected all the photographs I had posted of firearms, both images on my personal guns as well as the images of firearms which do not even belong to me. Simply pictures of interesting guns I had shared or saved. They were all together in a stack of police evidence. I was questioned more about Facebook posts and their meaning than I was about any actual firearms.
That's California for you.
Yes.
Meanwhile,
fucking thought policing, dude.
Yeah, but that shit's happening more and more everywhere.
For weapons traffic, the California politician.
Oh,
Lee.
Lee.
Yeah. He was also one of the guys that instituted the California assault weapons ban, and he was also one of the ones that
he was profiting the black market.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, and I mean, the biggest thing with this, really, if you actually read into what happened and what was going on, is this was a fishing expedition, and the impetus for the fishing expedition was they were critical of police for doing fishing expeditions,
right?
Unconstitutionally. So, I mean, and it should really be like this massive, like, klaxon for anyone who advocates for freedom on social media, including all of us who are obviously targets, although I figure I'm a target anyway, so whatever. But
you're more target than we are, but
I might as well have just this great big bullseye painted on my back.
But it was Facebook posts. It was pictures of guns that she had and pictures of guns that they liked. It was comments about police accountability. It was thought-provoking posts, which we all do, right? I mean,
we've all done all of that.
I do every single day on my Facebook page of 47,000 people.
I love the government.
Yeah. If the
government
won
the battle over myself, I love Big Brother.
If the government gave away Old Bay, Mark would wear a freaking brown shirt.
That's right.
It's
30 cans of Old Bay.
That's so northeast, I can't even begin to process.
It's so Maryland. It is so
It
Maryland.
is.
Yeah,
dude's got a crab tattooed on himself.
That's true. I do.
Yeah, I seen it.
Yeah, he has a Maryland blue crab tattooed on his leg.
That's wicked awesome.
Dumping the Old Bay on himself.
Yeah, and the crab is dumping Old Bay on himself. Yep, I've seen it.
Every time he says, "I dropped a crab cake."
Crab cake is shit, dude.
But yeah, these people were totally unjustifiable, right? No victim, no crime. There's absolutely no victim to what they were saying. The police were angry about their post, is what it was. And the police
there wasn't even any gray area, like they were advocating violence or anything like that. Just
no more so than I do.
You insulted my feels.
No, they are far more peaceful than I am on Facebook. I'll tell you that much.
I did a podcast with Shane Redliff and Ben Stone called "Putting Bludgies in the Ground." We talked about Deadpools. We talked about ardent self-defense. We talked about holding police accountable.
I listened to the whole thing.
And I guarantee you, I said things on that podcast that were a lot worse than what Sarah and Andy said.
TLDL. Sorry.
And it was a fantastic podcast. I can't.
That's because you're awesome and Shane's awesome and Ben's awesome.
Yeah, but
it's a lot of awesome in a room, or in a chat room, or whatever you'd call it, on the internet.
It was on
in
Skype.
One spot. One chat room.
Just stop, Mark. You're done.
That
got away from you.
Let it go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was Facebook posts. That's it. That's all it was Facebook posts, and the police used that as justification for arresting these people, arresting them for 13 hours without telling them their charges. They were in the car an hour before they ever got to see a warrant.
And all of their weaponry was seized, which was ostensibly legal.
Yes, absolutely legal.
See, that's their problem. They didn't post about how they lost it in a boating accident.
That's right.
I'm super clumsy, man. That was tragic.
Yeah, it really is.
It was so terrible. I was in the canoe and it just started rocking, and oops, I lost it. It was so terrible.
I was driving on a bridge over the Potomac, and it, I accidentally left the box on top of my car. and it just blew right off into the bay. And I don't know what to say.
Yeah,
I was like,
oh
no.
I want to know why gun owners are so bad at driving boats. That's
it happens.
Because
all of our brain power is taken up by
right. It gets really confusing and oops.
Red light, green light,
that's what it is you when you drive a boat, you're on the right side. When you drive a car, you're on the left, and you get confused and port and starboard.
They're making up new names for directions. I can't keep up with this.
I was in the Navy and it confuses me. I mean, I just can't even figure it out.
Knots.
Too much semen.
What the fuck is a knot?
Loads of semen.
Well, Mark knows what knots are, but we're not going to go that direction.
Nah.
But
all I know
is
if they got arrested for posting shit on Facebook, Facebook shut down 3 of my accounts and deleted all of my shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
They probably have a file like a mile long on that.
That's that's the other thing. If anything that Sarah and Andy said, if anything that it said was an actual threat, if anything that they said violating Facebook's policies, then it would have been deleted and their accounts would have been shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Dan got hit. Dan got permazucked. All 3 of his accounts shut down. Every account that he tried to make get shut down automatically for posting memes.
Yeah.
Well, it was mainly every time I posted anything about Jews and criticized they're like certain Orthodox rabbis, sucking baby penises after fucking circumcision. Called it out and wondered why that wasn't pedophilia. I'm like, Then I got banned for 30 days after that shit.
Yeah, I got a 30-day ban for Hitler memes. So.
I'm notorious for Hitler memes. But...
I got a.
For some reason, Twitter leaves me alone.
There's no bans on Telegram or Signal, guys. Or on MeWe apparently, because I was in this one group and they were showing pictures and. It made me blush.
You need to add me to that group, Jason.
Yeah, I was gonna say, hey, what kind of a group are we talking about here? Because you have my interest.
Looking it up.
I didn't see any of the good stuff on MeWe.
Yeah,
well, I haven't really been on there because
somebody said the mission memes, Dan.
I set up my MeWe account right when MeWe became a thing, and so it was a year or 2 ago.
It was. I jumped on MeWe about a month ago, and there was a 2-year difference between my last post and when I back on it.
And there was nobody on MeWe when I first got on. So to me,
it's hopping now.
In
There's a lot
my
of people
head,
over there.
MeWe's like a ghost town with tumbleweeds floating through it.
It's like
shit like
Facebook circa 2006.
Give it time.
I was on Facebook in 2006. So.
Speaking of Facebook, you hear Mark Zuckerberg is going to answer questions before a congressional panel.
Yeah, and he donated a ton of money to everybody who's going to be asking questions.
He donated to
What's that about him
85% of the people
stock
on the committee.
Or,
what?
I'm sure
doing the old pump and dump.
But justice is blind and will surely be served.
Of course.
I have absolute faith in the American government process.
Me too.
I said something like,
just unshakable religious faith. Yeah.
Yeah, the government has my best interest.
I almost believe you.
Although I do also have to balance that with the idea that all suspects are guilty, period. Otherwise, they wouldn't be suspects in the first place. So.
And if you don't have anything to hide, what are you afraid of? You have nothing to be afraid of.
The Zuckerberg article, I said, Congress be like, we investigated our cash cow and found he did nothing wrong. All the S's in there are dollar signs.
And the thing that drives me nuts is 30 years ago, right? 30 years ago, they were making movies about how corrupt politicians could be with this stuff and how, you know, like reporters would get chased down by their assassins trying to expose exactly this kind of thing. And now it's like common, like everyday news, and no one's batting an eye.
No. No one is upset about it. No one is upset about it because they don't want to change. They don't want Facebook to go away because they're so addicted to Facebook and Twitter and all these other social medias. Never mind the fact that the secretary of the NSA, I don't remember his name, he himself said in an article that he keeps a piece of cardboard taped over the camera of his laptop.
Oh, Bill Benny?
Yeah, but people will call me conspiracy theorist for that. Theorist for that.
Well, there's that one guy, the actual head of the intelligence community is like, nah, you can't trust this shit. Dude, you can't trust that shit.
Yep. Yeah. Not only can he not trust that shit. Not only can he not trust that shit, but whatever you know that they're doing 10 times worse.
Yeah.
Oh, I can absolutely guarantee that.
Me too.
Well, that's the dude William Blum. He worked for fucking Secretary of State or whatever, and that's exactly what he said. He said no matter how conspiracy minded you are, whatever your government's doing is 10 times worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what was the other thing? Yeah, Bill Benny. He was the one that developed the whole entire NSA setup that they're using now against the American people. But he used it. He set it up essentially for foreign surveillance. And he didn't want it to be directed against the American people, but then after 9/11, it was like they used it against the American people, and then it was like, I want out.
Dude, the problem that a lot of these technical geniuses need to realize is that every piece of surveillance technology that you develop, or even communications
can and will
technology,
be used.
Well, it's a Pandora's box. Like, you can't develop it and go, well, I just don't want to see this get used against the American people, and then expect that that's actually going to happen. Like, inevitably it is, and you're never going to be able to undo that was developed. I mean, the
Once
GPS
cat's
dot
out of the bag, it's out of the bag. I mean,
the GPS dot has actually been around a really, really long time. Civilians are finally starting to get access to it, but a lot of us know that the GPS dot has existed for 15 to 20 years.
Yeah, it used to be illegal for civilians to own GPS, and then it was legal for civilians to own GPS, but it couldn't be pinpoint accurate. It had to be give or take 30 yards or something like that.
It was 3 meters, so 6 feet.
Yeah,
and now it's down to within less than 12 inches. It can actually be accurate, even for civilians. But I mean, not even just that, but GPS equipment for civilians and on the open market is still realistically is worlds larger than what is actually out there. I mean, the GPS dot. So it's maybe 4.5 millimeters at most across. GPS dot. It has a tiny little lithium ion battery. That thing freaking exists. And they can just tuck it anywhere they want and track every movement that you make within inches. They know exactly.
It's no bigger than a mole. It's no bigger than a mole.
And they can use that to target you with a drone. They can shoot through the window of the building that you're in and hit you, and leave the rest of the room untouched.
Building.
Yeah, but that's going to be too obvious.
Yeah, because that's never happened before.
Well, I mean, it's happened before, but
that's cool for brown people.
Well, I was talking about.
I understand completely what you're saying, Andrew, and I agree completely. And the government has a history of doing that to people that speak out against them. Gary Webb shot himself in the back of the head twice, and they called it suicide.
Yeah, what's his name? Vince Foster did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
and there's a penchant for the surgeon, and just the target you're trying to get, and while that's good, it's also that they're not killing innocents, or they're trying to reduce collateral damage.
Just wait until they really get started. Just wait until they really get into the biological warfare and independent DNA tracking and.
Well, look at the scientists that supposedly got killed by Russia. You want to talk about biological warfare?
Yeah, supposedly the.
Well, I talked about this on the first episode that I did with you guys. I covered it. It was about a program that they have going on at Indiana University. Well, this is like where the pet project started. I think it was through DARPA, and it was called I think it was real world simulation or something like that, and it was like essentially like an AI controlled program where they did data mining, so that they had like they could track every individual by like they called it like a node. Like every individual was assigned a node, and it would have all your like credit card information, all your online information, like every action that you've ever done, every Facebook post you ever made, anything, and they could just click on your node and bring it up like it's like a Google Earth, and it tracks your movement all over the place, you know, with your phone, all that shit, all like, you know, where you made every post that you were ever made or that you were ever at, like all the timestamps, everything, dude. So it's like, and they use that data mining, and then once they switch everything over to a cryptocurrency, then they're gonna have that fucking social credit scoring system like China has, where if you speak out against the government, they'll just cut you off from the fucking economic system. You won't be able to fucking feed yourself unless you're self-sufficient.
Freaking Japan has so many cameras now, you guys, that they're texting people tickets for jaywalking.
Oh shit!
Jesus.
Yeah, see, this is how the shit gets out of hand. It's like Big Brother. It's like just because you can do it doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, you want Skynet because this is how you get Skynet.
Exactly.
Well, it isn't even just Skynet. I mean, you know, and to tie it back in, you know, to the leeches too, is it. Everybody's got to realize that all of this social media, everything that we're doing, and obviously we're on social media right now, so you know it's not like I'm not going to reject it, but everything that we're doing is being looked at. It is being monitored. You have a digital shadow. Speaking from somebody who's been in Intel, digital shadows are phenomenal ways to track somebody, not just track them, but to figure out who they can use against you. They can figure out who is most likely to be leverage against you. They can figure out who are you going to be willing to sacrifice yourself for, who is willing to go after you and to help them. They can figure all of this stuff out within 60 seconds. That can get analyzed by a computer program. The computer program is already out there. You can even check it out if you want to. It's online. You can go on there, check your own digital shadow, and see what it's going to analyze. I mean, they did it as a freaking promo for Watch Dogs, for a video game. They used a portion of that program.
The Edward Snowden movie, they talked about it.
Yeah.
Well, they developed psychological profiles on people by doing that too.
Oh my!
I don't want to know. I don't fucking care.
No, I mean,
well, that's what I'm going to say. Good luck.
Right.
A lot of the shit I post is ironic, so
yeah, right. That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
wow, this guy really likes cats and kink.
Yeah. Go.
I saw a really great quote the other day. I don't remember it off the top, so I'm just going to paraphrase on it. But it said something to the effect of, "You really need to take your privacy seriously. So confuse the government and confuse Facebook. Like if you like a gun page, go like a liberal anti-gun page. If
just balance it perfectly, so keep it balanced, totally neutral.
Keep it balanced and keep the algorithms just completely off, so they can't get a real grasp on what you're doing.
Like go like Mises and then go like Karl Marx.
Right.
Go like Venezuelan.
Or like a holy roller page, and then a fucking hardcore BDSM page.
Christians from Michelle Bachman is my highly recommended Christian page.
That is a
good God, that page is a never-ending fucking source of entertainment.
I haven't seen anything from them lately, though.
Oh,
I posted a thing about the fucking tiny ass, like fucking little tiny nug of weed, and I was like, this is an eighth or whatever. Like, so many people like died from this every year. And like people on Twitter were literally getting pissed off because they thought I was serious.
Oh no!
And I was
that's
like,
a satire page.
I know, and I was like fucking with them too. I was like, this is horrible. I died earlier this morning. Like, I was only resurrected by my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Oh my God, Dan!
Shit.
After that, they don't deserve to like your page or follow you on Twitter.
They don't.
Be like, go ahead and hate quit, rage quit.
Yeah.
Well, kids, we've been on for 2 hours.
Yeah, it's time to go.
It's getting to be that time.
I had to
least
look
for
up
me.
Christians for Michelle Bachmann page.
Tired
and
I'm drunk, so.
Oh, they are still operational.
Yes, they're still operating. And on that note, Derek is drunk, so I think we're gonna get off and then go enjoy the show. So, thanks for watching us. We'll catch you guys in 2 weeks with another fantastic episode. Peace.
Till the next time.